Welcome to She is Resilient, a podcast for women on their healing journeys who are ready to start living their most authentic and empowered lives outside of survival mode. I'm your host, Tatiana, trauma and somatic therapist, as well as a holistic coach, and I'm on a mission to help more women heal their nervous systems. Each week, me and my guests are going to get real and vulnerable about the experiences that led us to becoming the empowered and resilient women we are today. You'll leave this podcast with the skills, knowledge, and inspiration to start creating the life you deserve. Because if another woman can do it, so can you. Welcome to the first official free Coaching Friday on the podcast. If you have been following me for a while on Instagram, you know that I've been doing free Coaching Fridays on Instagram stories for over a year now, but I haven't answered any of your questions in the last month or so because it's officially been moved to this podcast. So every week, you can submit your questions at the end of every Friday episode, and I will answer it in the next free Coaching Friday. So today's question is, how do I get my nervous system to complete tasks on my long to-do list when I'm in a freeze state? So the first thing that I want to say about this is that the reason your nervous system falls into a state of freeze or shutdown is because there is too much stimulation. So before you freeze or shut down, your nervous system goes into a state of sympathetic activation, fight or flight. And if that activation in fight or flight is too much for the nervous system, then it will immediately fall into a state of freeze. So if you're constantly in a state of fight or flight, your nervous system is naturally going to burn out and go into freeze because it's too much for the nervous system. So in order to prevent falling into a state of freeze, we need to support the nervous system when it's in a state of fight or flight. And you do this through a holistic approach, which I talk about all of the time, right? Nutrition, somatic practices, releasing and processing trauma, setting boundaries, so on and so forth. But when you're in freeze, your nervous system is experiencing fatigue, burnout, depression. And so what your nervous system truly needs is rest and gentleness. Without this, your nervous system isn't going to feel safe enough to move out of the freeze state. So as much as you want to get out of the freeze state, what's more important is supporting your nervous system in this state instead of trying to get rid of this state, if that makes sense. So here are 3 ways to support your nervous system when you're in a state of freeze. So supporting your nervous system versus trying to get out of the freeze state. We're just supporting the nervous system. So number 1, resting. No matter what state of survival you're in, rest is essential, but especially in this state, because we know that the reason you're in this state is because there was too much stimulation in your nervous system. So resting is key. Rest and gentleness. Number 2, cold exposure. You can do this by bringing a cold ice pack to your neck, chest, or belly. And the reason it's important to bring the cold exposure to these areas of your body is because it activates the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the primary nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system. So anytime that you activate the vagus nerve or the parasympathetic nervous system, you're going to feel more safe, settled, and connected to your body. And number 3, tiny, slow movements. So inviting movement into your fingers, toes, elbows, shoulders, neck, head, very slowly. So imagining that you're going in super slow motion. The slower, the better, because when we move too fast, we again contribute to that survival state and risk re-traumatizing the nervous system. And so as you're inviting tiny, tiny, slow movements, just sense into your body. This helps your nervous system understand through sensation that you're not stuck and that you're safe. So remember, the nervous system doesn't use logic. So we can tell our bodies that we're safe all we want, but until the nervous system feels that you're safe, until it experiences that we're safe, we're going to continue to be in the state of survival. So we have rest and gentleness, cold exposure, and tiny, slow movements. And the last thing that I want to say about this is that nothing is more important than your nervous system. When you prioritize your nervous system, your mental health and your physical health will significantly improve, which will ultimately result in completing your tasks that are on your to-do list. I guarantee you that nothing on your to-do list is more important than your nervous system. If you want to function at your best, you need to focus on your nervous system's health, not on the things that you have to do. Those tasks can wait. Your health can't. Because without your health, you really don't have anything. That's why I always say that healing your nervous system is the foundation to living the life that you want, because it's truly what dictates everything in your life. So I hope you found this helpful and that it answered your question. I'm sure so many other people had the same question. Remember, if you have a question for me, submit it in the question box and I will answer it in the next free Coaching Friday. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you absolutely loved this episode, I would so appreciate it if you subscribed and left a review on Apple Podcast, or take a screenshot and share this episode on social media. Don't forget to tag me at tatiana.holistic.coach. The more nervous systems we reach, the more generational cycles we break, and the more we contribute to a kinder and safer world. And if you're looking for somatic healing services, send me a DM and I'd love to chat on how I can support you. I'll see you in the next episode.